March 20, 1944, RAF Bomber Command Headquarters, High Wycombe, England. In the dim glow of plotting tables, officers tracked formation after formation of Allied bombers returning from Mannheim. The numbers arriving defied German expectations and German understanding. While Luftwaffe commanders anticipated intercepting 60% of the incoming aircraft with their seasoned night fighter pilots, only 40% managed to engage the bombers effectively. In the quiet corridors of British radar stations, technicians monitored screens displaying precise dots moving across phosphorescent grids. The SCR-584 radar systems, originally designed for artillery guidance, had been quietly deployed across England and were proving devastatingly effective against German night fighters. Each blip on those screens represented a Luftwaffe aircraft being tracked with unprecedented accuracy. The Germans attributed their declining interception rates to pilot fatigue or improved Allied tactics. They had no comprehension that a technological revolution was systematically dismantling their night fighter capability. By dawn on March 23rd, the balance of the air war had shifted irrevocably, though the enemy would never understand why. The hum of generators filled the cold March air at RAF Bentwaters as technicians calibrated the latest SCR-584 radar installation. Originally conceived by Bell Laboratories for directing artillery fire, this microwave radar system could track aircraft with a precision that German engineers had never imagined possible. The SCR-584's 10-centimeter wavelength provided resolution accurate to within 50 yards at distances exceeding 30 miles, a capability that transformed night interception from educated guesswork into exact. Science Wing Commander Jeffrey Morrison observed the installation from the control tower, noting how the rotating antenna assembly moved with mechanical precision. Unlike the static German Würzburg radars, which required manual tracking, the SCR-584 employed automatic following mechanisms that locked onto targets and provided continuous positioning data. This technological advance represented years of American industrial research compressed into a compact system weighing just 10 tons. The first operational test occurred on March 15, 1944, when German Junkers Ju-88 night fighters approached a formation of Lancaster bombers over the North Sea. RAF Fighter Command controllers, guided by SCR-584 data, vectored Mosquito night fighters to intercept the German aircraft with unprecedented accuracy. Of 12 Ju-88s detected, 9 were engaged and 7 destroyed, a success rate that stunned both Allied and German commanders, though for entirely different reasons. Technical specifications revealed the SCR-584's revolutionary capabilities. The system generated 50 kilowatts of peak power at 2,700 megahertz, providing range resolution of 25 yards and angular accuracy of 0.1 degrees. These numbers meant that radar operators could distinguish between aircraft flying in close formation and predict interception courses with mathematical precision. German radar technology, still relying on meter wave frequencies, could not achieve such discrimination. Production figures demonstrated American industrial commitment to radar warfare. By early 1944, Western Electric had manufactured over 1,400 SCR-584 systems, with monthly production reaching 150 units. This output exceeded Germany's total radar production for the entire war, reflecting the vast technological and manufacturing disparity between the two nations. General Major Josef Kamhuber studied intelligence reports at Luftwaffe headquarters in Berlin, attempting to understand the sudden decline in night fighter effectiveness. German tactics, refined through 3 years of combat experience, emphasized radar-guided interception using Würzburg and Freya early warning systems. These meter-wave radars, operating at frequencies between 120 and 240 megahertz, provided adequate detection ranges but lacked the precision necessary for modern air combat. The Würzburg radar, with its 8-meter dish antenna, could detect aircraft at ranges up to 40 kilometers but suffered from significant limitations. Weather interference degraded performance, and the system's 2-degree beam width made accurate tracking difficult when multiple aircraft operated in proximity. German radar operators frequently lost contact with targets during critical intercept phases, forcing night fighter pilots to rely on visual acquisition in darkness. Oberst Werner Streib, Germany's leading night fighter ace, reported increasing frustration among his pilots. "We arrive at the intercept coordinates," he wrote in a March 1944 operational report, "but find empty sky. The enemy bombers have vanished as if guided by invisible hands." Streib attributed these failures to improved Allied electronic countermeasures, unaware that superior radar technology was directing defensive fighters with unprecedented accuracy. German night fighter losses mounted steadily through early 1944 Luftwaffe records documented the destruction of 347 night fighters between January and March, compared to 198 losses during the same period in 1943. These statistics reflected not improved Allied pilot training or increased bomber defensive armament, but the systematic application of radar-guided interception using SCR-584 technology. Intelligence assessments failed to identify the true cause of declining German effectiveness. Luftwaffe technical officers examining captured Allied equipment found conventional radar components that provided no indication of revolutionary developments. The SCR-584's advanced features, automatic tracking, high-resolution discrimination, and precision guidance remained invisible to German analysis because the systems were too advanced for enemy comprehension. February 29, 1944. Over the English Channel, Squadron Leader James Mitchell guided his Mosquito night fighter toward German intruders using directions provided by ground control. Unlike previous interceptions that relied on approximate headings and pilot intuition, Mitchell received precise range and bearing information updated every few seconds. The SCR-584 radar tracking the engagement provided position accuracy that allowed controllers to vector interceptors to within visual range of enemy aircraft. The tactical revolution became apparent during the first coordinated SCR-584 operation on February 15, 1944. 8 German He-219 Uhu night fighters approached a stream of Halifax bombers returning from Leipzig. Ground controllers, monitoring multiple SCR-584 displays, directed 16 RAF Mosquitoes to intercept positions calculated by mechanical computers integrated with the radar systems. The resulting engagement destroyed 6 German aircraft while losing only 1 Allied fighter, a success ratio that would have been impossible using conventional radar guidance. Combat reports documented the SCR-584's transformative impact on night operations. Pilot Officer Robert Davies, flying a Mosquito Mach 3, described his February 28th engagement. Ground control provided bearing changes every 30 seconds, bringing us to within 800 yards of the bandit. The Hun never knew we were there until our cannon fire lit the darkness. Such precision interception had been unachievable with earlier radar. Technology statistical analysis revealed the magnitude of technological advantage. During February 1944, RF night fighters achieved a kill ratio of 4.7.1 against German aircraft, compared to 1.8.1 in February 1943. This improvement directly correlated with SCR-584 deployment across England's air defense network. The radar's ability to track multiple targets simultaneously enabled controllers to coordinate complex interceptions involving dozens of aircraft. German pilots reported increasing difficulty completing successful attacks against Allied bombers. Luftwaffe operational records from March 1944 noted that 60% of planned night fighter sorties failed to locate assigned targets, despite clear weather and excellent visibility conditions. The enemy attributed these failures to Allied jamming or tactical innovations, never suspecting that superior radar technology had rendered their interception methods obsolete. Operation Argument, the Allied campaign to destroy German aircraft production, provided the first large-scale test of SCR-584 capabilities. Between February 20 and 25, 1944, over 3,800 Allied bombers attacked aircraft factories across Germany, supported by radar-guided fighter escorts equipped with the latest interception technology. The campaign's success depended not only on bomber accuracy, but on neutralizing German fighter response through superior air defense, SCR-584. Deployment accelerated during arguments planning phase. By February 1944, 47 radar sites across England operated the advanced tracking systems, providing complete coverage of German approach routes. Each installation required 37 personnel for continuous operation, including radar operators, maintenance technicians, and communications specialists trained in the complex procedures necessary for precision intercept control. The strategic impact became evident on February 24th, when Luftwaffe Jagdgeschwader 11 launched 68 Focke-Wulf FW-190s to intercept B-17 formations approaching Schweinfurt. RAF controllers, monitoring German takeoffs through radio intercepts and radar tracking, vectored 49 Mustang fighters to predetermined intercept positions calculated by SCR-584 data. The resulting air battle destroyed 23 German fighters while losing only 4 Allied. Aircraft production statistics demonstrated the growing technological gap between Allied and German radar capabilities. American factories produced 1,847 SCR-584 systems during 1944, while German industry manufactured approximately 300 radar sets of all types. This 10-to-1 production advantage reflected not only manufacturing capacity but the fundamental superiority of Allied radar design and development programs. German intelligence remained blind to the source of Allied interception success. Luftwaffe technical reports from March 1944 attributed increased fighter losses to unknown tactical improvements and possible new aircraft types, never recognizing that radar technology had revolutionized air combat. Oberst Adolf Galland, General der Jagdflieger, wrote in his diary, "Our pilots report that enemy fighters appear from nowhere with perfect positioning for attack. This suggests new training methods or communication systems we do not understand." The strategic consequences extended beyond individual combat engagements. German fighter production, already strained by bombing damage, could not replace aircraft losses accelerated by radar-guided interception. Each SCR-584 installation effectively multiplied Allied fighter effectiveness while simultaneously degrading German operational capability through the systematic destruction of irreplaceable pilots and aircraft. Lieutenant Hansberger climbed into his Messerschmitt Bf 110G4 at Venlo Airfield on the night of March 18, 1944, unaware that SCR-584 radars were already tracking his aircraft's movement. The German night fighter, equipped with Liechtenstein SN2 airborne radar, represented the pinnacle of Luftwaffe technology, yet remained vulnerable to detection systems operating on frequencies and principles beyond German understanding. Berger's mission exemplified the declining effectiveness of German night fighter operations. Intelligence reports indicated a formation of Lancaster bombers approaching the Ruhr Valley, providing clear intercept opportunities for experienced pilots flying advanced aircraft. However, the tactical situation had fundamentally changed since 1943, when German night fighters dominated nocturnal combat through superior radar and pilot training. The Liechtenstein SN2 radar, operating at 90 MHz, could detect large aircraft at ranges up to 4 kilometers under optimal conditions. This capability had previously enabled German pilots to locate and attack Allied bombers with devastating effectiveness, contributing to the destruction of over 2,400 RAF aircraft during 1943. However, the system's meter wave frequency made the radar visible to Allied electronic intelligence, while its limited resolution prevented discrimination between individual aircraft in formation. SCR-584 operators at RAF Neatishead detected Berger's Bf-110 immediately after takeoff, tracking the aircraft's course and altitude with precision impossible using German radar technology. Ground controllers calculated intercept courses for 4 Mosquito night fighters, providing continuous position updates that brought Allied aircraft to within visual range of the German intruder. Berger's radar warning receiver remained silent, as the SCR-584's centimetric frequency fell outside the detection range of German electronic warfare equipment. The engagement lasted less than 3 minutes. Flight Lieutenant David Shaw vectored to within 400 yards of the Bf-110 through radar guidance, achieved a firing solution without the German pilot detecting his approach. Cannon fire from Shaw's Mosquito destroyed Berger's aircraft over the Dutch coast, adding another victory to the growing tally of radar-guided interceptions. Statistical analysis revealed the systematic nature of German losses. During March 1944, Luftwaffe night fighters achieved successful interceptions in only 37% of attempted engagements, compared to 68% in March 1943. This decline directly corresponded to SCR-584 deployment and the resulting precision of Allied defensive responses. The radar revolution was destroying German night fighter capability through technological superiority that remained invisible to enemy analysis. The intelligence gap became starkly apparent during post-mission debriefings at Luftwaffe headquarters. German pilots consistently reported that Allied fighters appeared without warning and achieved impossible intercept accuracy, yet technical officers could identify no new Allied aircraft types or tactical innovations. The systematic failure to recognize radar-guided interception reflected fundamental limitations in German electronic intelligence capabilities. Oberst Victor von Lossberg, commanding Nachtjagdgeschwader II, compiled operational reports that documented the mysterious decline in German effectiveness. "Our pilots are among the most experienced in the Luftwaffe," he wrote in a March 25, 1944 assessment, yet they report that enemy fighters consistently achieve perfect intercept positions. This suggests either superior intelligence regarding our flight plans or some technical advantage we have failed to identify. German radar development, despite early leadership in radio detection technology, had stagnated relative to Allied progress. The Telefunken Company, responsible for Luftwaffe radar systems, continued producing meter-wave equipment based on 1940 designs, while Allied industry had advanced to centimetric frequencies that provided revolutionary improvements in accuracy and resolution. This technological gap widened throughout 1944 as American production accelerated while German resources diminished. Technical specifications illustrated the magnitude of German disadvantage. The Freya early warning radar, operating at 125 MHz with 2,400-yard range resolution, could detect aircraft formations but could not distinguish individual bombers or provide precision tracking data. In contrast, the SCR-584's 2,700 MHz frequency achieved 25-yard resolution, enabling operators to track single aircraft through complex tactical maneuvers. Intelligence failures compounded technological limitations. German electronic intelligence services, focused on intercepting Allied communications and jamming conventional radar, remained unaware of centimetric radar development. Luftwaffe technical officers, examining captured Allied equipment, found no components indicating advanced radar capabilities because the most sophisticated systems never accompanied bomber formations into German airspace. The strategic implications extended beyond immediate tactical defeats. German pilot training programs, designed for radar-guided interception using Würzburg and Freya systems, became obsolete as Allied radar-guided defenses systematically destroyed the most experienced aircrew. Each engagement reduced German capability while simultaneously improving Allied effectiveness through accumulated technical and tactical experience. By March 1944, the fundamental equation of night combat had shifted decisively in favor of Allied forces equipped with SCR-584 technology. Yet German commanders remained blind to the source of their declining. Fortune's D-Day provided the ultimate test of radar-guided air defense as Allied forces prepared for the largest amphibious assault in military history. The success of Operation Overlord depended critically on maintaining air superiority over the invasion beaches, requiring the systematic neutralization of German fighter response through coordinated radar interception. SCR-584 systems played a decisive role in achieving this. Objective to 37 SCR-584. Installations across southern England provided complete radar coverage of the English Channel and northern France on June 6, 1944. These systems, operating in coordination with fighter command controllers, created an impenetrable defensive network that detected German aircraft movements immediately after takeoff from French airfields. The radar net extended effective Allied fighter control into enemy airspace, multiplying defensive capabilities far beyond traditional interception methods. German response to the invasion proved pathetically inadequate, partly due to radar-guided Allied interception. Luftwaffe 3, responsible for defending the invasion area, managed only 319 sorties during the critical first day of Overlord, compared to over 14,000 Allied missions. SCR-584 guided fighters intercepted German formations before they could reach the invasion beaches, preventing effective attacks against vulnerable landing craft and troops. The technological disparity became most apparent during the afternoon of June 6th, when Jagdgeschwader 26 launched a maximum effort against Allied shipping off Omaha Beach. 41 Focke-Wulf FW-190s approached the invasion area in 3 formations, tracked continuously by SCR-584 radars from takeoff to destruction. RF controllers vectored 63 Spitfires and Mustangs to intercept positions calculated by radar data, resulting in the destruction of 27 German fighters while losing only 4 Allied aircraft. Colonel Johannes Steinhoff, commanding JG-77, later described the helplessness of German pilots facing radar-guided opposition. "We took off knowing the enemy would be waiting, positioned perfectly for attack. Our formations were broken before reaching the target area, scattered by fighters that appeared with mathematical precision." Such tactical hopelessness reflected the overwhelming advantage provided by centimetric radar technology. Statistical analysis demonstrated the decisive impact of radar-guided air defense. During the first week of Overlord, German aircraft achieved successful attacks in fewer than 12% of attempted missions, while suffering loss rates exceeding 40% per sortie. These figures represented the complete collapse of German air power in the face of superior Allied technology and overwhelming numerical advantage. The strategic bombing campaign against German synthetic fuel production during the summer of 1944 provided perhaps the clearest demonstration of radar-guided air superiority. Operation Point Blank's later phases targeted hydrogenation plants and refineries essential to German military operations, requiring precision attacks defended by the most advanced radar-guided fighter escorts available to Allied forces. SCR-584 installations at forward bases in France and Belgium extended radar coverage deep into German airspace by August 1944. These advanced positions enabled Allied controllers to guide fighter escorts with unprecedented accuracy, providing bomber formations with defensive coverage previously impossible during deep penetration missions. The radar network's expansion represented the technological foundation for devastating attacks against Germany's petroleum infrastructure. The June 20, 1944, attack on the Scholven synthetic fuel plant exemplified radar-guided escort effectiveness. 96 P-51 Mustangs, directed by SCR-584 data from installations near Calais, intercepted 47 German fighters attempting to attack B-24 formations approaching the target. The resulting engagement destroyed 19 German aircraft while losing only 3 Allied fighters, enabling the bombers to complete their mission with minimal interference. German fuel production statistics revealed the strategic consequences of radar-enabled air superiority. Synthetic fuel output declined from 175,000 tons in May 1944 to 17,000 tons in September, a 90% reduction that crippled German military mobility. This collapse resulted directly from successful bombing missions protected by radar-guided fighter escorts that prevented effective German defensive response. Luftwaffe pilot training programs, already strained by fuel shortages, virtually collapsed under the combined pressure of radar-guided Allied attacks and diminishing aviation gasoline supplies. New German pilots received an average of 47 flight hours before assignment to operational units in late 1944, compared to 240 hours in 1942. This degradation in pilot quality compounded the technological disadvantage created by superior Allied radar systems. The impossible statistics of radar-guided air warfare became starkly apparent by September 1944. Allied fighters achieved kill ratios exceeding 10.1 during escort missions, while German intercept success rates fell below 5%. A single SCR-584 installation could coordinate defensive responses covering over 1,000 square miles of airspace, enabling one radar system to influence the outcome of entire air campaigns. Such technological dominance rendered German air defense increasingly futile, transforming what had been contested airspace into an Allied hunting ground where radar-guided fighters systematically destroyed the remnants of German air power. September 17, 1944, marked the beginning of Operation Market Garden, the ambitious Allied attempt to capture bridges across the Rhine and end the war before Christmas. The operation's failure resulted from multiple factors, but radar-guided air superiority provided the one element that functioned according to plan. SCR-584 systems enabled Allied fighters to maintain complete control of airspace over the Netherlands, preventing German air attacks against vulnerable transport aircraft and gliders. The Luftwaffe's pathetic response to Market Garden demonstrated the complete collapse of German air power under radar-guided pressure. Despite the obvious strategic importance of disrupting Allied airborne operations, German fighters managed only 46 sorties during the first day of the operation, compared to over 1,400 Allied transport and fighter missions. SCR-584 radars tracked every German aircraft from takeoff, enabling defensive fighters to intercept attempted attacks before they could reach vulnerable transport formations. General Lieutenant Adolf Galland, attempting to coordinate German fighter response from his headquarters near Berlin, faced the impossible task of directing operations against an enemy that possessed overwhelming technological advantages. "We know they are coming," he wrote in his September 18th diary entry. "We know their routes and timing, yet our fighters cannot reach them. Some invisible force guides their defensive aircraft to perfect intercept positions. The statistical reality of radar-guided air warfare became impossible to ignore by late 1944. German fighter production, despite increasingly desperate efforts, totaled only 25,527 aircraft during 1944, while Allied forces destroyed an estimated 31,000 German aircraft, more than total production. This negative exchange rate reflected not only numerical superiority, but the systematic application of radar technology that multiplied Allied effectiveness while degrading German operational capability. Technical intelligence failures compounded German tactical helplessness. Luftwaffe electronic intelligence services, desperately attempting to understand Allied intercept capabilities, detected no new radio frequencies or communication patterns that might explain the mysterious precision of enemy defensive responses. The centimetric radar technology remained invisible to German analysis because their detection equipment operated on entirely different frequency ranges. By October 1944, the German fighter force existed primarily on paper. Pilot losses exceeded replacement rates by over 300%, while aircraft serviceability declined to below 40% due to fuel shortages and maintenance difficulties. The radar revolution had achieved its strategic objective, the complete neutralization of German air power through technological superiority that remained incomprehensible to enemy analysis. The systematic destruction of German air power reached its mathematical conclusion during the final months of 1944. Statistical analysis revealed the overwhelming impact of radar-guided air defense on Luftwaffe operational capability, with loss rates and mission failure percentages that rendered continued resistance meaningless. The numbers told a story of technological dominance that no amount of courage or tactical skill could overcome. October 1944 marked the nadir of German fighter effectiveness. Luftwaffe squadrons achieved successful interceptions in fewer than 8% of attempted missions, while suffering loss rates exceeding 50% per operational sortie. These figures represented the complete breakdown of air defense capability in the face of radar-guided Allied superiority. Each German mission became a sacrifice rather than a tactical operation. The Bodenplatte operation on January 1, 1945, demonstrated the futility of German air operations against radar-guided defenses. Despite achieving complete tactical surprise through radio silence and low-altitude approach routes, the Luftwaffe lost 214 aircraft, while destroying only 144 Allied planes on the ground. SCR-584 radars detected the German formations during their withdrawal, enabling devastating attacks by Allied fighters that decimated the remaining experienced pilots. Fuel statistics illustrated the strategic impossibility of continued German air operations. Aviation gasoline production totaled only 1,000 tons in January 1945, compared to peak monthly production of 175,000 tons in early 1944. This 99% reduction meant that German fighters could fly an average of 2.3 hours per month, making meaningful pilot training or operational experience impossible. The radar-guided advantage extended beyond immediate tactical success to fundamental strategic transformation. Allied bomber formations, once vulnerable to systematic German interception, operated with virtual impunity over targets throughout Germany. The combined bomber offensive achieved its objectives not through overwhelming numbers alone, but through the systematic application of radar technology that neutralized enemy defensive responses. German aircraft production statistics provided the final evidence of technological collapse. Despite producing 39 of 807 aircraft during 1944, the highest total of the war, the Luftwaffe ended the year with fewer operational aircraft than at the beginning. Radar-guided Allied fighters destroyed German planes faster than industry could replace them, creating a negative spiral that rendered continued resistance impossible. By December 1944, the radar revolution had achieved complete victory over German air power, transforming what had been the world's most formidable air force into a token presence, incapable of meaningful resistance. The final collapse came not through dramatic battle, but through mathematical inevitability. By February 1945, German fighter pilots averaged 1.7 operational sorties per month due to fuel shortages, while Allied air forces flew over 100,000 sorties monthly with complete radar-guided coordination. The war in the air had become so one-sided that German resistance served no military purpose beyond prolonging inevitable defeat. Oberst Hannes Trautloft, one of Germany's most experienced fighter commanders, documented the hopelessness of continued operations in his final war diary entries. "We send young men to die in obsolete aircraft against an enemy that sees everything and controls the entire sky," he wrote on February 15, 1945. "Our radar cannot match theirs. Our tactics cannot overcome their technology. Our courage cannot substitute for their industrial power." The strategic impact of radar-guided air superiority extended far beyond air-to-air combat. German transportation networks, manufacturing facilities, and military installations operated under constant aerial attack without effective defensive response. Railroad traffic declined by 80% between October 1944 and March 1945, largely due to systematic bombing campaigns protected by radar-guided escort fighters that prevented German interception. Intelligence assessments revealed the extent of German technological blindness. Post-war interrogations of Luftwaffe officers demonstrated that senior commanders never understood the role of centimetric radar in Allied operational success. They attributed their defeats to numerical disadvantage, pilot quality degradation, and fuel shortages, never recognizing that superior radar technology had rendered their entire defensive strategy obsolete. The human cost of technological disparity became apparent in pilot casualty statistics. German fighter pilots suffered loss rates exceeding 200% annually during 1944, meaning that the average pilot survived fewer than 6 months of operational flying. This catastrophic attrition reflected not only numerical inferiority, but the systematic advantages provided by radar-guided defensive systems that enabled Allied fighters to achieve perfect intercept positions. Production comparisons illustrated the fundamental inequality underlying the air war. American industry produced 96,118 aircraft during 1944, while maintaining radar manufacturing at levels that equipped every significant Allied airbase with advanced detection systems. Germany, despite maximum industrial effort, could neither match Allied production nor develop radar technology competitive with systems already operational. Throughout the Allied air defense network, the radar revolution had achieved its ultimate objective, the complete neutralization of enemy air power through technological superiority. The war ended with German air power, reduced to historical curiosity rather than military factor. May 8, 1945 found the Luftwaffe possessing fewer than 1,500 operational aircraft, most grounded by fuel shortages and maintenance difficulties. The radar-guided systematic destruction of German aviation had achieved strategic objectives that traditional air warfare could never have accomplished through numerical superiority alone. Post-war, technical intelligence revealed the magnitude of technological disparity that had determined the air war's outcome. German radar development had stagnated at 1942 levels, while Allied research produced revolutionary advances in detection accuracy, tracking capability, and operational integration. The SCR-584 represented technological superiority that rendered German countermeasures ineffective and German tactics. Obsolete assessment of radar-guided air operations demonstrated strategic lessons that would influence military development for decades. The systematic application of superior technology had multiplied combat effectiveness far beyond simple numerical advantage, enabling smaller forces to defeat larger opponents through coordinated precision rather than overwhelming mass. These principles would guide air defense development throughout the Cold War era. The human dimension of technological revolution remained visible in veteran accounts from both sides. Allied pilots described the confidence provided by radar-guided ground control, while German airmen recalled the helplessness of facing enemies that appeared from nowhere with perfect tactical positioning. Technology had transformed individual combat from skilled contest to systematic execution. German industry's failure to develop competitive radar systems reflected broader weaknesses in technological innovation under a totalitarian organization. Democratic societies, with their emphasis on scientific freedom and industrial cooperation, proved superior at developing and producing advanced military technology. The radar revolution demonstrated the strategic advantages of open research and competitive manufacturing. Memorial records listed 70,000 German aircrew killed during the war, many victims of radar-guided Allied interception that achieved precision impossible through conventional means. These losses represented not only individual tragedy, but the systematic destruction of irreplaceable expertise accumulated through years of combat experience. The radar advantage had accelerated German defeat while minimizing Allied casualties through technological rather than numerical superiority. The SCR-584 and its associated systems transformed warfare through invisible revolution that enemy analysis never detected. Superior technology, properly applied, had achieved strategic objectives that traditional military thinking deemed impossible. The future would belong to nations capable of developing and deploying technological advantages that multiplied human capability rather than simply replacing it. The legacy of radar-guided air warfare extended far beyond individual battles or campaigns to fundamental transformation of military thinking. The SCR-584's success demonstrated that technological superiority could achieve strategic objectives previously requiring overwhelming numerical advantage or prolonged attrition. These lessons would influence military development throughout the nuclear age and beyond. Technical analysis of the radar revolution revealed principles applicable to future conflicts. Precision coordination of multiple units through advanced communications and detection systems multiplied combat effectiveness far beyond simple arithmetic addition of individual capabilities. The integration of technology with human skill created synergistics, advantages that determine strategic outcomes through tactical superiority. The German failure to recognize or counter radar-guided operations provided enduring lessons about intelligence and adaptation. Military organizations that failed to understand technological change faced systematic defeat regardless of traditional advantages in training, equipment, or tactical doctrine. The radar revolution emphasized the critical importance of scientific research and industrial innovation in modern warfare. Historical assessment confirmed that the air war's outcome resulted from technological rather than numerical factors. Allied radar systems enabled smaller fighter forces to defeat larger German formations through precision interception that eliminated enemy effectiveness while preserving friendly capability. This multiplication effect demonstrated the strategic value of investment in advanced military technology. The human cost of technological disparity remained visible in comparative casualty statistics. German aircrew losses exceeded 70,000 during the war, while Allied aircrew casualties totaled approximately 40,000, despite flying far more missions over longer periods. Superior technology had saved Allied lives while accelerating enemy defeat. Through systematic rather than attritional warfare, educational institutions studying the radar revolution emphasized its demonstration of democratic advantages in technological development. Free societies with competitive research environments and cooperative industrial relationships proved superior at developing revolutionary military capabilities. The SCR-584's success reflected broader systemic advantages that transcended individual technical achievements. Veterans of radar-guided operations carried forward institutional knowledge that influenced post-war military development. The principles of coordinated air defense, precision interception, and technological integration became foundational elements of NATO air doctrine throughout the Cold War. The radar revolution's legacy shaped military thinking for generations. In a quiet corner of the Imperial War Museum, a restored SCR-584 radar antenna stands as testament to technological revolution that changed warfare forever. Its rotating dish, once invisible to enemy understanding, represents the power of scientific innovation applied to human conflict, and the enduring truth that superior technology, properly employed, determines the fate of nations. What is your perspective on this part of history? Share your thoughts in the comments, because every memory and reflection helps keep the past alive.